another edition of Toronto Talk Sports and More, episode number 21. Recording this on Wednesday, September the 12th. Zion Hezekiah here, a.k.a. Hez. I'm here in studio with Milan Sonegra, a.k.a. Milo, and my brother Courtney Scarlett, a.k.a. Courtz. Guys, how was your week?
How's it going, guys? My week was fantastic, very busy. How about you guys?
So far, so good, man. Back in studio. It's getting a little chilly out now, but nice, beautiful day today.
We did actually have some pretty cool days. Actually, I had to turn on my heat for one day in the house.
Wow, yeah, the other day, that's true.
Actually, probably for a couple of days.
September, right? So
that's right.
Can't complain.
But apparently, it's warming up now, so we'll see what happens there. So usually in our intro, guys, we have our general roundtable chat where we talk about things outside of sports. We've talked about things from the list of idiotic national days like National Make a Friend Day, National Dress Your Pet Up Day, to men sitting down to urinate. I believe that was episode number 12. That was a classic. If you haven't heard that one, check it out.
Courtz was actually telling me he experimented with that.
Yes, he did. How's that going, Courtz? Are we keeping that consistent?
I think you got me confused with Hez over here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm a man's man. Now, today, guys, no random talks. We've actually got a very full show ahead. So let's get straight to some sports talk right from the jump. NFL season started last Thursday. We had a full slate of games on Sunday. We had an M&F doubleheader. So basically, all 30 teams were in action. What stood out to you most, guys? Let's start with you, Courtz.
Well, what stood out to me most was, sorry, Milo, but your Pittsburgh Steelers, they just couldn't get it done against the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, we know the Cleveland Browns are a brand new team. You know, I think they have an additional 31 new players this year. So it's a brand new team.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers, for most, they're favorites to not only go to the Super Bowl, but to win the Super Bowl. And in week one, I know you didn't have Le'Veon Bell, but you can't manage to beat the Cleveland Browns.
They just couldn't execute.
Horrible
execution.
Too many turnovers. You can't win the game turning the ball over 6 times like that. It was just the weather obviously didn't help, but I think both quarterbacks struggled in the rain and things like that. But yeah, you got to win.
Honestly, Milo, what was going through your mind during the OT frame? I would love to know.
My heart was racing.
That was the craziest overtime.
Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy. But even the fourth quarter, I mean, they're up 14 points with 7 minutes to go. You got to have that killer instinct. And that's the one thing that bothers me about the team is I don't feel like they have that killer instinct like the Patriots do and the Eagles showed last year. So we'll see, man. They got a big game this weekend. We'll see what happens.
Awesome.
And I think I might have heard you're attending the game. Is that what's
I
happening?
am. I'm going to be in Pittsburgh, PA as of
When
Saturday.
do you leave?
Saturday afternoon, I'll be there, and we'll leave.
Good
And, I got some good seats.
So
look for me on TV.
Towel, baby.
I have one already. I got my Steelers gear ready. We're ready to go, man.
Nice.
Full force.
What about for me, guys? Probably the Saints. Like, what the heck happened to the Saints? Like, how many points did they get?
48, I think it was.
How about Ryan Fitzpatrick, though? Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow. He was playing
Fitzmagic
was like Aaron Rodgers out there.
Yeah.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, wow.
Goodness.
Unbelievable. Sunday Night Football. Courtz, what were your thoughts there, man?
I'll be honest. When I saw Aaron Rodgers go down, he getting stretchered off, that look in his eye, that might be that look, that's it for the season kind of a look.
It was scary. It was really scary. You know that those fans really held their breaths. And me too. I'm a Packers fan. I love the Packers.
I think once he came back after halftime, you just had that feeling that he was going to do some magic, right? And get them back in the game. And, who knows if they would have won the game or not, but I mean, they're going to be competitive again. And then to pull it out like that, it was pretty amazing.
Spectacular.
Amazing comeback. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys, football-wise, that stood out? Any of the Monday games?
Yes. Well, I thought Sam Darnold, that guy, I mean, we were on those guys' show a few weeks ago, Hez, me and you.
Trash Talk?
Trash Talk Radio, that's right. And they asked us about the AFC East.
Yeah, those guys are trash. Did I say that out loud?
But, they were asking us about Sam Darnold and if he's the projected, future of the Jets. And he definitely looked the part. He threw a pick six on his first ever play.
And then he settled in.
2 touchdowns, 198 yards passing. I thought he was great. The Jets fans have something to look forward to, so that's great.
Definitely. So we're definitely looking forward to week 2. All right, guys, so let's wrap up this opening segment with this. This past Sunday, Serena Williams, she lost the U.S. Open final in straight sets to Naomi Osaka. There was lots of controversy surrounding some of Serena's antics during the match. Umpire Carlos Ramos gave her 3 code violations for on-court coaching, racket abuse, and verbal abuse. She called him both a liar and a thief. She received a game penalty. It was just insane. Milo, what did you make of all that, man?
So, guys, Serena Williams, she may just be the GOAT when it comes to female tennis.
100%. I mean,
I'm not going to say 100%, but it's arguable. Yeah. People that know me growing up know that's a tough statement for me to make because my all-time favorite tennis player was a female also, Steffi Graf.
Yep.
So I watched her religiously. I would even wake up at 4 a.m. on Saturday mornings just to watch her play in the Wimbledon final in England. Serena, she's done such great things both on and off the court, but she was 100% wrong on Saturday and deserved everything that was given to her. Number one, she was given a code violation for receiving coaching from her coach in the player's box.
Which is a no-no.
Williams denied it to chair Carlos Ramos, telling him, and I quote, "I'd rather lose than cheat to win." Mm-hmm. But after the match, during an interview on live television, her coach, Patrick Mortaglo, if that's how you pronounce it, admitted it to coaching her, saying that everyone does it, and he didn't see anything wrong with it.
We do acknowledge, of course, guys, that it had absolutely no effect on the game whatsoever.
Absolutely.
But the rule is a rule.
Absolutely. It reminds me, what it reminds me of getting pulled over by a cop, and you're like, you get pulled over for speeding, you're like, well, everybody speeds. You got caught, right? So it's against the rules.
Say it reminded you of deflated football, so I'm glad you didn't go there.
Well, that too, right? Number two, she gets a point penalty for smashing her racket on the court. Again, something you're not allowed to do. The same umpire gave Novak Djokovic this past year at Wimbledon a penalty after he smashed his racket. So, he's given out time violations to Rafael Nadal in the past. So I think she got what she deserved. If you ask me, if you're LeBron James, for example, and you berate an official on the basketball court, call him a thief, call him a liar, what's going to happen? Probably get kicked out of the game.
But I think the problem was what occurred before that. Like, I'm not even justifying, using those kind of words and that kind of aggression.
Right.
But can we honestly say that women are treated the same way as men in sports, in society in general, that there isn't a double standard?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Is that I'm all about gender equality, women deserving the recognition, not just in sports, but in life in general. But I think she acted childish on the court. I think she embarrassed herself.
So what would have been the best way, and maybe you can chime in here, of course, for her to kind of assert herself in that situation, feeling that she was wrong? Should she have waited after the match? Wouldn't that have been kind of too late? What should she have done in that situation?
Well, here's the thing, guys. The thing about tennis, it's a very emotional sport. This is the U.S. Open Finals.
Sports in general.
And as we know,
emotional.
Serena Williams, she's a very emotional person.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I mean, is what she did wrong? I mean, when you're playing in the finals in the U.S. Open, all this pressure is on you. She just had a baby, so there's a lot of pressure.
At least she didn't threaten anybody this time.
No, and she's admitted to postpartum emotional struggle. So maybe that played a part. But at the end of the day, of course, you can't smash your racket on the court. You're not allowed to do that.
Well, you can't. I mean, a lot of players have done that, and yes, you definitely should have gotten a penalty for that.
Right, and you can't get coaching from your coach.
That's true.
Okay.
The third penalty now, when she called the referee a liar and not a liar, he called him a thief.
Yeah.
If I was the referee at that point, given the fact that this is the U.S. Open Finals, Naomi was, I think, after that, she was just one game away from winning the championship.
I
would have gone to the side. Now, Serena, calm down, stop this. If you don't stop this,
try to reason a little
exactly.
bit.
I'm going to give you a penalty, but you have to stop this. I just think that it was totally unheard of. I don't think that penalty should have been given then.
And do you think it would have been given to a man?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think a different approach
would happen. There in terms of her gender.
I think she lost her argument when she started saying it was sexist and racist. I don't think it was. I mean, she has her opinion, and that's fine, but I have mine. I don't think he was being racist at all.
So you think he was completely justified?
Absolutely.
All of those,
if you're
penalties.
Umpires, referees, linesmen, whoever you are, cannot be verbally abused, and vice versa. They can't do that to athletes either. So they have control pretty much of the game, the outcome of a basketball game, a football game. They can determine what's going to happen. So if you're out of line and you're constantly calling if she said a thief once, that's fine. You let it slide.
Right.
But she said it maybe 5-6 times. You're a liar. You're a thief. You need to apologize to me. She's embarrassing the guy on the court in front of a national audience. How do you think he feels?
She lost her cool, and perhaps she would have, looking back, done it differently.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I like Serena. I think she's a great player. She does a lot on and off the court for tennis, but I think she was totally wrong in this situation.
So let me go back to what you said earlier, Milo, in terms of Serena potentially being the GOAT. And that's a discussion we can have.
Sure.
I could definitely debate affirmative. I certainly believe that she is.
Right.
So in terms of gender equality, what about this whole notion, and we kind of touched on it in terms of her pregnancy and this and that. Yeah. So when obviously she had to take time off a year or whatever it was,
right.
She was ranked number 1. During that period of time, when she actually came back, she went down, was she like 200 or 300? She had to actually, pick herself, go all the way back up.
Yep.
I mean, what's up with that? Is that fear?
It was what fair that she dropped in seating?
Oh, of course, yes, absolutely.
No, that's how tennis works, though. That's how it is. I mean, if you take time off for a year, you're not gonna obviously be number 1 through 10 anymore.
That's right.
Yeah, just the fact of how she was treated during that whole period of time and everything that she went through and whatnot. From her standpoint, and a lot of her supporters, I mean, they feel that she's not given the respect that probably she deserves, being the GOAT. I mean, if you're the LeBron James, the Michael Jordan of your sport, whatever it is.
Right.
I mean, is it fair?
Well, that's how tennis is. I mean, at the end of the day, Kawhi Leonard, he hasn't played basketball for, almost a year.
Right.
He's coming back. People are still saying he's the top
Well,
five.
actually, SI just ranked him number 12, and there's some controversy behind that. On another note, and this is totally off topic, but Boogie, same thing. Boogie Cousins was actually ranked, I think, 56 or something like that. So in the 60s by SI, so that's crazy. Yeah. But guys, I mean, we could discuss this for a long time. I mean, we'll definitely see what happens. I'm sure she'll bounce back and she's going to tie the record. What was it 24?
24 majors.
Grand Slams,
right.
yeah.
So I'm sure she'll get it. It's just a matter of time.
She's no Steffi Graf, though, that's for sure.
So, guys, let's get to today's show, TTS episode number 21. We've got a special featured guest, former MLB player Gregg Zaun, joining us in studio. We've also got Natalie Satinsky from Got Pains. She joins us for our And More segment. We've got Adwin Springer and John Jay, both close personal friends of ours and extended members of the TTS family. They'll be here talking some baseball. So, guys, let's get right to it. Toronto Talk Sports and more. Cigars for You, a premium tobacco shop in Thornhill, Ontario, supplying cigars, pipes, and accessories, bringing you a taste of Cuba, Dominican, and Nicaragua. Their shop is sure to have something for everyone. Whether you're a longtime cigar lover or just looking to try something new, they're there to make you happy and to help. They specialize in cigar bars for weddings, birthdays, and holidays. You can call 905-771-7076 for all your inquiries, and make sure to mention TTS on your next visit to receive 10% off. They're located at 330 Steeles Avenue West in Thornhill. And once again, 905-771-7076. Cigars for You. Toronto Talk Sports and more. Hez back here alongside my guy Courtz, and we're very glad to be joined by former 16-year MLB player. He was a World Series winner early in his career in 1997 with the Florida Marlins. He played here in Toronto for our hometown Blue Jays from 2004 to 2008. He's also a baseball analyst as well as a public speaker. The Manalist is in the building, Mr. Gregg Zaun.
Hello there.
What's going on, Greg?
Welcome.
Not a whole lot. Thanks for having me. This is very exciting.
Yes, sir.
I'm pumped
well, listen,
to be here.
man, thanks for coming in. So first things first, the Manalist. Tell us the story behind that nickname. How did that originate?
Well, Ken Reed's the guy that dubbed me the Manalist. Obviously, just adding an M to the word analyst gives you the actual word. But while during my time on television, I was known for the suits and the scotch drinking and
on the rocks or off the rocks?
It depends on how good the scotch is.
Nice.
On the scotch. All right.
A blend will like my go-to is Johnny Walker Black. It's
all right.
He's a good friend of mine.
Johnny W for the win.
Yes, and it will drink that on the rocks all day long. But if you throw a nice single malt in front of me, we will just drink it neat.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I guess that was my whole persona. I mean, I'm former athlete. I like my suits. I like my trucks. I like my whiskey.
A man's man.
That's right.
Yeah. So there's the whole thing with the the Manalist, and so I just kind of ran with it. And,
all right.
I mean, it didn't bother me that I had a nickname. There was lots of them floating around, but that one was pretty cool.
Right. All right. Cool.
Awesome. Well, Greg, thanks again for joining us here, man. Let's talk about those suits of yours. I mean, we know that you're a guy of fashion, and me, myself, I take pride in my appearance. I like the way you carry yourself and you present yourself. A lot of times when we turn on the TV to watch you, we're like, we don't necessarily although we love to hear what you have to say, sometimes we tune in, what's he going to be wearing today? What's he going to be wearing? Tell us, man, where did this sense of fashion come from, and where do you get your suits? Maybe you can recommend me to your tailor.
Well, I used to get them from a company called Garrison Bespoke, but now I'm getting them from Indochino.
Nice.
And because, Indochino for me, you can't beat what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
We were talking about $500-600 for a custom made suit, and they can deliver it to you in four weeks. Come on.
Wow.
I mean, it's if you've never been sized up for a custom suit, you got to do it. Now,
awesome.
Great experience.
The genesis of my fashion sense or whatever came from the fact that early on in my childhood, I went to Catholic school.
Nice.
And we wore what they called tough skins. I mean, they might have sold them here at Sears in Canada.
Yeah.
And they're the most god-awful pants in the world. Like, you could literally slide on the asphalt schoolyard in them while you were playing kickball, and they wouldn't tear up your knees. That's how rough these things were. And our parents would buy these hideous... our uniform was a red sweater, a white shirt, and brown pants.
Wow.
Picture that. Could it just be navy blue, white, and red, brown? No. And then, of course, when you're young, the parents want to buy stuff that you can grow into, or at least it lasts for a while. Right. So the hems would be 8 inches long on a kid 4'2".
I'm literally picturing that right now.
And when you finally grew into those, you were growing out of the waist, but then there'd be this line when they unfolded it. So I ended up going to the public school for a couple of years because my mom didn't like the fact that the Catholic priest was asking us to put more money in the collection basket each week while he was sitting in his hot tub out at the rectory driving a Cadillac.
Of course. So wonder where that money's going to.
So my mom was like, okay, we're going to take a break from the Catholic school for a little while. And I went to public school. Well, in public school, kids are dressing up. When in my day, it was Maui and Sons. It was all about the surfer look, growing up in Southern California, the skateboarding, the surfer look. Yeah. Well, I had no interest in that. I just wanted to play basketball and football at recess and just get my schoolwork over so I could go play ball. Nice. I didn't care. But that didn't really go over too well. I wasn't the most popular fella. Yeah. So I said to my mom, Mom, I need to go get some clothes. So we went and got some clothes, and ever since then, I remember going to school in my new clothes and thinking, wow, I'm feeling pretty good.
I like this. Yeah.
I was feeling pimp before I knew what pimp was.
I like that.
And so it kind of snowballed from there. And then the other reason for the fashion, when you're 5'10" like me, and you're surrounded by guys that are 6'4" and chiseled out of stone.
Because that's considered short in the States.
Yeah, I'm short.
Especially for an athlete,
I was short for a catcher.
Yeah.
And so you walk into a room, you go out to a restaurant, a bar, you're in your early 20s and you're surrounded by all these big, gigantic, gorgeous-looking stud dudes.
Bagwells.
You're like, what do I got to do to get some attention around here? I had to make up for it with better clothes, and I had to be a better conversationalist.
Definitely.
So when the big, pretty, dumb guy broke their heart, they'd come and talk to me. They'd come and talk to me.
I'm sure you did all right for yourself.
Cry on my shoulder.
That's
a little
right.
bit. Exactly. So that's where the whole fashion thing came from. And I always tell people I like to celebrate a suit.
Right. I love that.
And you guys are all looking very, very good tonight.
Thank you.
I'm impressed.
Thank you very much.
So let's get to know Gregg Zaun a little more intimately. Tell us about your family.
Well,
you're a married man. You have a daughter as well, right?
Yeah, marriage number 3, child number 1.
Okay, so the third one's a charm?
Yes, Canadian girl. It's a Canadian girl.
Good.
So,
All right.
Yeah, it's just me and my wife and my daughter. We have a tight little family unit. And
any pets?
No. We lost our Rottweiler last year.
Oh, sorry to hear.
My man Cato. We had to rehome him. He started to become a little aggressive, and with a 2-year-old around, you can't really.
That could be a little.
He was a 140-pound killing machine. It wasn't good. So we had to go get him a better place to live. So no pets. And honestly, right now it's just dealing with a 4-year-old. Last night it was ballet.
So she's in school now.
Oh, she goes to. I guess you could call it like junior kindergarten.
Oh yeah, that's what we call it here. Yeah,
we called it preschool when I was a kid.
we call it junior
This is
kindergarten.
Canada. We do have JK. Yeah, yeah.
Preschool.
My son just started JK as well. So.
Yeah, it's a Montessori type of upbringing. Pretty much do as you please, kind of. Right. But she's doing great, and awesome. So we enjoy that. So I'm chasing her around every day,
and keeping you young and
yeah. You know, I got a 4-year-old daughter. I'm 47. I got a 4-year-old daughter, and a wife that's 10 years younger. Yeah.
Okay.
So all the other time that I have on my hands, I spend working out.
Yes.
Right.
trying to stay fit. Trying to stay fit. Trying to stay relevant. You know, man. I don't want her to trade me on a younger model here in another 10 years. So I gotta stay
and
relevant.
Married how long now?
I think 4 years now.
Okay.
Awesome.
So my wife and I have been together 8. We've been married 4.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, tell us something that people will be surprised to learn about you.
Surprised to learn about me.
Something that we don't know that
Give us the goods.
The goods.
Well, I'm definitely not as angry and disgruntled as most baseball viewers. Yeah, the only reason for me being disgruntled is sheer mathematics. Yeah. Baseball's a game of failure.
Yes, it is.
My job when I was on television was to analyze what I saw on the field, the moves that the front office guys were making. Yeah. Everybody thought it was like personal, but it wasn't personal. It was like, hey, by the way, my job is to analyze what you're doing.
If a guy sucked, you got to tell him, hey, today you suck.
Seriously, and it was so hilarious because every time I said something good about a player, nobody said a word to me. It was just like as soon as I said something negative about a guy, I was like, oh, they want to cry. They wanted me to feel bad, and then of course they wanted me fired, and I was like, wow, where's the accountability for? I mean, you chose the wrong profession if you didn't want to be criticized.
That's right.
Have thick skin.
That's right.
Sports.
Yeah. So there, I'm not an angry guy. I'm actually a happy guy. Awesome. I have a wide range of hobbies. It's funny, people ask me all the time to play baseball or softball, and I say, absolutely not. Okay. I retired from baseball because I didn't want to play anymore. If I still wanted to play baseball and deal with the mind game and all of the stress and all that, I'd rather be making those hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars to get paid.
Yes.
I'm not going to go out to the local diamond and let some weekend warrior chirp me because I haven't thrown a baseball in 8 years and I can't hit a high arc
play ball
and I can't hit slow pitch softball because I haven't swung a bat in 8 years.
So you don't miss the game at all?
Absolutely not. I don't want to play
it. Its time.
I don't want to play.
16 years. That's a long career.
Yeah, that is.
16 in the bigs, 22 years in pro ball, and I've been doing it since I was 6.
Yeah, jeez.
I'm not into it, man. I'll do just about anything but.
The man's enjoying life.
I love to ski. That's my thing. Nice. I love to ski and I love the box.
Awesome.
Yeah. So those are my hobbies. Every once in a while, I'll strap the pads on and go between the pipes.
Nice.
I suck at it, but it's fun.
So having some fun.
It's like ball blocking, only it's a hockey puck.
That's
you
right.
Just jump your body in front of the puck and hope that somebody feels like playing defense and they can catch the rebound. That's about it.
Awesome.
So you're American-born, born in Glendale, California. You played for 9 teams throughout your MLB career, 4 years here in Toronto with our Blue Jays. This is your home. You continue to live in the GTA. Yeah. What is it that you love most about Toronto, Greg?
You know what? It's the people. Ever since I came here as a player, people embraced me, and it's just become second nature for me to be here. I rarely go to the States. Wow. I mean, I think last time I was home was probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
With a baby, I just said, hey, Mom, Dad, I'll pay for the plane tickets, but you guys got to come to us.
There's a lot of interesting things going on down south, but we won't get into that. You're in a good place here.
Yeah, there's lots
for
of
now.
stuff. There's lots of stuff going on. But for me, it especially when I had an opportunity to come and work on the television, it was either be an entire country's baseball analyst or just one team.
Yeah, that's right.
One
the
region
team
or
represents
whatever.
the country.
Yeah, pretty much. So I would say that the cachet was there, and so I want to try some different business ventures, and I felt like my cachet
Toronto's
was here.
The place.
That's so that's the reason for why I stayed. And up until recently, I was gainfully employed, so there wasn't any reason for me to go.
Definitely. That's awesome. Well, Greg, let's get into your career in the major leagues, beginning with the Orioles in 1995. What was it like for you breaking into the pros at this time around the age of 24?
It was crazy because that was right in the middle of Cal Ripken's streak.
Yeah, okay.
And 95 was the year he broke it. I was in the bullpen.
Classic.
During the 21-31 game. It was crazy.
Amazing.
And I had known him since I was 10 years old. My uncle was his first roommate in the big league. So what a thrill for me. The game was played a little differently back then. I can tell you, average fastball was probably about 88, 89 miles an hour then. Now it's probably, 93?
Yep.
The game's gone and sped up quite a bit. But it was a different time. Obviously, there was a lot of stuff going on in the game of baseball, the so-called steroid era.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But you can call it what you want. I can tell you right now, I was around in '98 when the McGuire Sosa thing happened.
Yes.
When there was 35, 40,000 people showing up for batting practice on the heels of a strike.
Yeah.
And you know what? The owners knew.
Of course.
Everybody knew what was going on. But it wasn't illegal at the time.
That's right.
So I say, do what you got to do. It didn't bother me what was going on. I looked at it.
You did your thing.
I had
I
had my suspicions, but I didn't really care.
Of course.
And of course I got accused of it basically every year. Got thrown. They threw my name in the Metro report because of what some bat boy said.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of guys got caught up in the
It
mix.
was.
And
It was just. It was just a.
suspicion and
Yeah.
whatnot. But as you said, it wasn't. In the
banned.
books at the time. So
I don't. Yeah. I don't really. It didn't bother me one bit. I mean, guys did what they got to do. I tell you what. I had a ball watching those guys hit that.
I would
the home
imagine
run
so.
chase.
It was a thrill.
Watching some of those guys and the games that they were throwing up. It was fun.
Sammy, so he was quite a legend.
It brought fans.
He looks a lot
back.
different now than he did back then.
does.
But that's another story.
I can tell you right now, without that '98 season, baseball would be a very different game.
Makes sense.
Brought a lot of fans back to the game.
Absolutely. You call it what you want, but
Yeah.
baseball was saved by it, so to speak.
Definitely.
This is Toronto Talk Sports and More. We're here with Gregg Zaun, former MLB player. So tell us, Greg, about your time with the Toronto Blue Jays beginning in 2004. Definitely not the greatest season in franchise history. I believe things turned around the year after in 2005, the year that Sky Dome was renamed to the Rogers Center when undergrown, when a lot of upgrades or whatnot. Talk to us about your time in Toronto. What was that like during that 4-year tenure here with the Blue Jays?
It was interesting because it was a up and down time for me. I came to Toronto and got hot right away. Right. And Carlos Tosca and I had a relationship before that through the Marlins organization.
I haven't heard that name
In a while.
And so I got hot. Kevin Cash got hurt because Kevin Cash was slated to be the starting catcher. And the guy that now manages the Tampa Bay Rays. And I got hot and I basically took the job from him. Right. And that was great for me because I never thought that I was ever going to be a starter in the big leagues. I had gotten a chance in '98, the year they did the fire sale in Florida, but I fell right on my face. I think I hit $180 for a full year. I was damn near terrible, miserable. I contemplated quitting the game.
Wow.
But I came back. I got another chance. Parlayed it into a starting job for 2005 and ran with it. I had the best years of my career were here in Toronto.
Awesome. You played alongside Molina as well, Benjamin Molina.
Yeah, they brought Benji that was a weird situation. It was that was a tough pill to swallow for me because I had a really good year the year before.
Right.
On both sides of the ball. And then 2 weeks before spring training they bring in Molina and now I'm splitting time with him. But the funny thing about it was he and I partnered up to have productively probably the best season by two catchers in Major League history.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
And I actually ended up having a more productive year when he was there, playing less.
Yeah.
So it worked out pretty good. I mean, the organization got the maximum production from the two of us. It wasn't ideal for playing time-wise for either one of us. Benji wanted to go and play every day. He was a free agent the next year, too.
Yeah.
But, like I said, up and down. I had my ups and downs, and then I stepped back into playing every day, and then they brought in Barajas. It was an ebb and a flow, but overall, the best years of my career.
Awesome. I got to ask this. What was it like catching for Doc, Roy Halladay? And, of course, may he rest in peace.
Yeah, that guy was so well prepared. It was a mental day off.
It just seemed like he was just so like focused and
Dialed
so in the
every
zone, and
game,
he was like a
yeah.
perfectionist. He was, I mean, one of my favorite players. I used to
was
love when he
probably my
took him
favorite
out.
Blue
He was
Jay.
just like
Yeah.
so intense. What was that? What was it like?
You know, he did all the work for you. He was like, he used to put in an 8-hour day at the ballpark. The last place you'd ever see Doc was sitting in front of his locker, you know, twiddling his thumbs,
Yeah.
Right.
playing, you know, a Game Boy or even reading a book. He didn't mess
I
around.
heard you
with
couldn't
it.
even really talk to him on game days, right?
Yeah, no, that's an interesting story. Let's come back to that.
Okay.
So, because I used to love. It's one of my favorite stories now.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I just know that when like I did most of the work when I was the catcher. I did most of the preparation. I formulated the game plan with the pitching coach. Roy had his way of doing things, and he was prepared. So the day he started was a mental day off for me. All I had to do was keep him from being predictable.
Right.
And you know, he was a gruff fella, especially the day he pitched. And I remember when I first got there, I had more service time than anybody else on the team. So and I'm the catcher, and Roy would, you know, leer at me and bark at me or whatever if I said too much. And finally I just looked at him and I said, "Hey, dude, I ain't no rookie. And oh, by the way, I'm the one putting down the finger. So unless you want me to start telling these guys what's coming,
Yeah.
let's
Better put some respect on my name.
let's dispense with all of the drama."
That's right.
I said, "You could treat the rest of these guys like crap all day long, but not me."
That's right. Good.
And you know, Roy and I, we became friends. I caught more games for that guy than anybody.
Yeah.
And you know, I was on a hunting trip when he passed.
Yeah.
And I was
That was
sitting
such a shocker.
Yeah, I was sitting in a deer stand, and all of a sudden I turned on my phone to check because I had heard a gunshot.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, one of the guys in my hunting party had taken down a deer.
Okay.
So I turned on my phone and it just lit up.
Yikes.
My mom, my wife,
Yeah.
Jamie
Yeah.
Campbell, everybody's
yeah.
messaging me going, and I
It was
looked.
unbelievable. I remember I was watching TV
I was in,
when it
I was in
happened,
complete
and
disbelief.
I was
I was
devastated.
with my son. We were in the bay. I remember everything, and it was like,
Yeah, it was crazy, and I remember I'm on a hunting trip with a bunch of guys that I hadn't known for very long, and they just basically put their arms around me because I collapsed. I was a puddle,
Yeah, I'd imagine.
and I remember driving home from Havelock. And it took me, I had to stop 3 or 4 times just to get off the road. I was
Yeah.
shaking.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't even believe what had happened. It was, and then of course, the network wanted me to come on and talk about it. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Easy
Yeah.
thing.
Not in the
No,
right
and I'm a bit of a
headspace.
crier. So,
oh yeah. I mean,
especially when
shed a few tears in my day.
it's, it was
Sad-
tough.
sad thing.
It,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was,
Yeah.
it was tough. And,
Definitely. Very
no,
unexpected.
but he was a hell of a competitor.
Oh, big time.
Absolutely.
Probably a posthumous Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing
Definitely, for sure.
that.
for
No
sure.
doubt.
Definitely. Well, let's just switch gears a little bit here, Greg. Other than baseball, of course, what other sports do you actively follow?
Call me crazy. I just love like ladies tennis.
Really?
Okay.
Nice.
I watch it, and the reason why I watch it is because they still play the game.
Yeah,
like
that's
especially
right.
on the
Yes.
hard courts.
Yeah.
You actually see rallies, you see strategy,
Yes,
whereas
yes.
you see Djokovic get on the hard surface and it's 145-mile-an-hour serve. Guy can't even return it,
Ace,
so
yeah.
you don't see a whole lot of
Yep.
gamesmanship
That's right.
unless you get onto the softer surfaces.
Yeah.
But ladies tennis, there's still artistry. I love watching it. They're in great shape.
Yeah.
Got any favorites? Serena Williams.
Yeah,
She just.
of course. Serena's.
We were talking about her earlier.
Serena's,
in our
Serena's
opening
amazing.
segment.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very poor behavior at the U.S. Open,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
still an amazing competitor. And you know
Absolutely.
what? I'm here to tell you, you don't get the desire, the drive that
Yeah.
she has to be
Oh, yeah.
good without every once in
And
a while
everything that she's
blowing up
been
a
through,
little
especially
bit.
of late, and the baby and
yeah,
near-death
of
experience.
course, of
and
course.
postpartum.
I'm not excusing the
yeah.
behavior,
Yeah.
but
No,
I
no,
but
I
I but I
mean-
love the competitor.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely
The
love the
drive.
competitor. She's awesome. Absolutely awesome. I mean, I still go back to the days when they were playing with the wood rackets. I loved watching,
We're kicking it old school here.
Chrissy
TTS.
Lloyd, Martina Navratilova.
Yep.
But that's
Way
when
back.
that's when the men's game was still really good with McEnroe and Connors
Yes.
and Borg and Becker.
Man, yeah.
I think they should go back to the wood rackets on the men's circuit. That would be amazing because it would slow the game down and actually make these guys run around and do some things.
Definitely.
It'd be awesome. But I love that, and I follow boxing quite a bit. It's a hobby of mine. So I'm trying to learn and be better at my craft. So
Fantastic.
Any
pay
football
attention.
at all? NFL football?
No, stopped
Really?
watching it.
Oh, wow.
I stopped watching it. I
right.
don't watch the NFL anymore. The game just doesn't seem the same to me as when I was a kid.
Okay.
It's the same, and I don't watch the NBA anymore because they don't play defense until the fourth quarter.
yeah.
8-7. They don't play defense.
It's all about the super teams.
Yeah, well, even then, they still
Right, yeah.
until the fourth quarter of Game 7, they don't start playing
That's right.
defense. So it's like, and everybody wants to debate who the greatest of all time is. I say,
Who's the GOAT?
you know, who is this guy? Well, I can tell you right now. You know, you can make an argument for a whole bunch of people, but I can definitely tell you that LeBron's game would be massively different if he had Bill Lane Beer hacking the hell out of him as he approached the lane.
Absolutely.
Amen.
There's a difference between the league that these guys are like.
all big time, night and day.
They don't play
The
defense.
rules.
They don't play
Yeah,
rough.
yeah.
They don't play. I mean,
You can't touch anybody. The rules have
No.
totally changed.
Like, I don't know how old you guys are, but growing up watching Magic and Bird
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, big
and
time.
Dr. J.
I'm 7 years younger than you.
and then the Bulls dynasty.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and I was a baseball teammate of Michael Jordan.
time.
So
Oh, wow.
Right on, yeah,
I
you mentioned
know watching that genre.
Yeah.
big time.
I'm not saying LeBron's not the greatest, but his game, his ability to score would have been a heck of a lot less with all the welts on his arms.
And that doesn't
Guy
take
like
anything
Bill
away
Laimbeer.
from his game. Still a great player. And,
No,
the best player in the game, but-
probably
Yeah, oh,
the
yeah.
greatest of all time.
Well,
But the
debatable.
scoring records. Yeah, I'm still a Michael Jordan fan. I don't know about you, but that guy.
big time.
And I mean, let's be honest. We could probably say the greatest basketball player of all time was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
He's
Look
up
at the
there.
numbers.
Definitely up
Look
there.
at the
He's
numbers.
definitely up
Nobody
there.
else is compared.
Oh, yeah, he's up
He's got the
there.
greatest
Still
numbers
has
of any
the,
basketball player in
in-
history.
in points scored,
Kareem,
yeah.
and nobody, and everybody just thinks, oh, you know, he was tall and he got the.
I have
Yeah.
Kareem as number 2 on my list, but no, he's
Number 2? Who's their number 1?
I got MJ as
like
number
MJ?
one. I got MJ as number one.
You got MJ at number 1. So I think we all agree.
Yeah.
I would say Kareem, if I had to go, depending on what mood you catch me in, the lowest he'd ever be would be 1B.
Okay, wow.
1B.
That's
Yeah.
great. Awesome.
Yeah.
1B.
So
Awesome.
listen, Greg, as we kind of wind down things here, tell us what you're up to these days. Tell us about Manalist TV.
Well, you know, it started off as, you know, kind of a studio show, kind of a reproduction of what I was doing, but I was covering the entire game of baseball. You know, and over the course of a couple of months, you know, we were trial and error, trying to give the fans what they wanted. It became really evident that they wanted, you know, more Blue Jay centric stuff, and so we tried to experiment and give it to them. Now, right now, it's the Manalist TV is we put the video up for my podcast. The podcast has been a better format for me to really kind of dive into stuff, get into topics, a lot like we are now. It's easier for me to express myself when I've got a minute and a half
Yep.
versus 30 seconds. So just more in depth on a lot of the Blue Jays topics. A lot of the moves that are going on, obviously, with the team struggling this year, there's a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm doing that, and then my other project is I've opened up a baseball academy, the Gregg Zaun Baseball
Yeah,
Academy.
tell us about that.
We're going to be working out of a 36,000 square foot building in Kleinburg on Highway 27.
Okay.
It's the old Kleinburg Film Studio, and then they called it Devon Sports Center, but I think they're renaming it right now as the baseball barn. But I'm going to be teaching kids as young as 6, as old as 18,
Very nice.
the fundamentals of the game.
Sign up my son.
I'm passionate. I'm going to be doing it. We do private lessons. We do group stuff.
Teaching the fundamentals of the game and
Absolutely.
whatnot. Very nice.
You know, a friend of mine's kid asked me to run a practice, and I was heartbroken watching 12-year-olds not be able to play catch. Their parents had not taught them, and it wasn't necessarily the parents' fault. God bless them. They're volunteering their time, but they don't know anything about baseball.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'll do it. Let me teach your kids how to do it. So give them a fighting chance because I want them to be lifelong fans.
Definitely.
I want them to play well into their teen years.
For sure.
And for all these kids out there that are, staring down the idea of their parents paying 12, 15 grand a year for a travel team, well, why would you want to do that if you can't hit somebody in the chest?
That's right.
If you can't hit a fastball down the middle, if you don't play fundamentally sound, you have no chance to go anywhere. So come out to my school and I'll give you the fundamentals. I'll give you the foundation so you can build your game.
Exactly. Awesome.
Good stuff. Very nice. Good stuff. So we'll definitely plug that in our credits. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with you, Greg, as we wind down this segment here. We're going to play a little game called TTS Rapid Questions. So we got 10 questions for you. They're very random questions. And there's no time for you to consider or ponder anything. You just got to give us the very first thing that comes to mind.
It's dangerous for
Rapid fire.
Dangerous for me.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
You are ready. Okay, so TTS Rapid Questions. There's 10 of them. Number 1, favorite food?
Steak.
The last movie you watched?
Oh, goodness gracious. Jack Reacher, Never Go Back.
All right. Mayweather or McGregor?
Mayweather.
Describe MLB umpire Doug Edens in one word.
Full of himself. Well, that's more than one word. Cocky. Cocky.
What do you love most about your wife?
She's a thug.
All right. Who's winning the Super Bowl this season? And we just spoke about you don't follow NFL.
The Rams,
pick a random team.
Rams, I'm picking my hometown team, the Rams.
All right, awesome. Good
I heard
stuff.
they're pretty good.
Cool. What are we at here? Number 7, Budweiser or Molson Canadian?
Oh, God, I gotta stay with my roots, Budweiser. Okay. Red label for redneck.
All right. Favorite teammate?
Favorite teammate of all time was a guy named Dave McCarty. He was an arrogant Stanford prick that I absolutely adored.
You just happened to gravitate towards him?
He liked to make fun of me because I didn't go to college. He went to Stanford.
Yeah.
But he and I were just thick as thieves. We were the best friends.
I love it.
He taught me how to do crossword puzzles. I ain't mad at him, but he used to rub me good.
2 more. Biggest pet peeve?
Entitlement.
Okay. And lastly, love this one. What sound does a donkey make?
Awesome.
You heard it here first,
that's my
guys.
best donkey one.
TTS. Oh my goodness, that was fun, Greg. Listen, thanks a lot. We really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing. It was a pleasure definitely getting to know you a lot better. And you're going to stick around with us for our MLB Roundtable discussion coming up next. We're definitely looking forward to that. Thanks again, Greg.
Thank you.
Toronto Talk Sports and more.
Yes, TTS listeners, it's Milo back here, and we're going to talk some Major League Baseball. I'm very happy to let you know that I'm joined on the line by one of the hottest DJs here in the Six, as well as all across Canada. He has toured with the likes of 50 Cent, Kid Capri, Cardi B, Fabulous, and Shaquille O'Neal. He's also spun at after parties for Drake, Kanye West, G-Eazy, the Toronto Blue Jays, and many more. He has 10 years of experience being on Toronto's #1 radio station, Flow 93.5, a member of the TTS extended family, and a friend of mine. Huge baseball fan, DJ John Jay. John Jay, how are you, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys? First off, I just want to say thank you for having me, Milo and Hezi and everybody else there. I appreciate it.
For sure, man, for sure. I hear you're joining us on the line from a beach in Mexico.
Well, not quite a beach, but close to a lake. I do have a pool here, so
nice,
it's the same thing.
Nice. Have a drink for me, buddy.
I will, buddy.
Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Also, right here in studio from London, Ontario, in 2002, he was on Team Canada's baseball spring training roster. That same year, he worked out with the Blue Jays at the Sky Dome alongside former National League MVP from the Cincinnati Reds, Joey Votto. In 2013, he was named an All-Star in the Inter-County Baseball League, and he now works as a business consultant in the optical industry, an avid sports fan, and this man loves his baseball, Mr. Adwin Springer. Adwin, how's it going, sir?
Going great. Glad to be here.
Good, man. Good. Thanks for joining us. And finally, the manalist himself is back. You just heard his feature interview with Hez and Courtz, former Blue Jays catcher and studio analyst Gregg Zaun. Greg, thanks for joining us once again, buddy.
My pleasure.
All right, man. So, gentlemen, let's get started. First off, I know they're not in contention this year, But our Toronto Blue Jays have made their fair share of headlines over the last few weeks. There have been discussions about manager John Gibbons and the Jays parting ways at the end of the season. The Jays traded third baseman and former MVP Josh Donaldson a couple of weeks ago, which we did discuss in the last episode. And most recently, the team announced they would not be bringing up superstar prospect Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to the team this season. Now, the MLB Players Association absolutely ripped the organization for this decision, saying, and I quote, "The decision to not bring him up is a business decision, not a baseball decision. It's bad for the Blue Jays, it's bad for the fans, it's bad for the players, and it's bad for the industry." Blue Jays president and CEO Mark Shapiro responded by saying, and I quote, "It has nothing to do with business. It has nothing to do with anything other than we think the best thing for him developmentally is to go to play in Arizona in the fall league there and continue to develop." So, Greg, I'll start with you, having been part of this organization, having interacted with Mark Shapiro many times, I'm sure. Do you think this really comes down to a development decision, or is it more based on the financial aspect, knowing that the sooner Vladdy is called up, the sooner he's in line for a bigger payday?
Yeah, I think it has everything to do with business, to be honest with you. I mean, let's think about it. He's going to go to the Arizona Fall League, and he's going to play against a bunch of guys who he already dominated.
Right.
He kicked ass in AA and AAA.
I've seen the highlights, man.
So there's just no reason why you think that more games from a 19-year-old kid playing his second year of professional baseball, when he's not even going to be challenged, is going to somehow help his development.
Right.
I played in the Arizona Fall League. I played in it twice. The level of competition is, high AA, low AAA.
Right.
And
he's past that.
Vladdy's way past that. I mean, as far as his hitting goes, he's not ready to play defense in the big leagues. I know that for a fact. I got a couple of scout buddies said that they question his fitness level, and they're also questioning whether or not he can play defense at the big league level. So unless you're going to bring him up to the big leagues and let him DH, it makes no sense. This is a business decision. Obviously, I don't have a problem with it, to be honest with you, other than, there's some other issues we can get into, but I look at it this way. This kid is obviously talented. He's way above everybody else in AA or AAA as a hitter. Just let him go home. Just let him go home on a positive note. If you don't want him in the big leagues right now, that's fine, because there's no reason to bring him up here, get the clock started on his options, his outrights, the whole 9 yards. There's no reason to. And here's something that nobody's given any thought to. He's 19 years old.
Right.
What if he comes up to the big leagues and gets his head kicked in?
Yeah.
It's happened before.
Yeah.
It can happen to anybody. So he can come up to the big leagues and not do well. And now you just ruined
psychologically.
You just ruined a kid who just hit 381 collectively for a minor league season, which never happens.
Yeah.
And you just bookended his great season with a flop at the big league level. So why even bother? Give him an opportunity to go home, take a deep breath, and get ready for next year to compete for a job.
Yeah. So you do see him coming up next year. Opening day, he'll be there.
I think so. There's no reason why he shouldn't be. He'll be 20 years old. It'll be time if he's there.
Yeah. Adwin, what are your thoughts on that, man?
I would echo a lot of those sentiments. I thought he would be potentially coming up in September, but I definitely would say it's a business decision as well. I don't know what the Arizona Fall League is going to do, like Greg said. He's already mastered that level of hitting, and I don't know how much defensive work he's actually going to get there that's going to change his ability by the time he gets to the big league level in spring training. So it has to be.
Is he an outfielder? Outfielder.
Third baseman.
Third baseman, yeah. I don't know if he'll compete as a third baseman at the major league level. Probably not. Most likely not. So it's interesting. Definitely a business decision because really and truly, I think from an offensive standpoint, he probably could have held his own coming up. And if not, he would have got challenged enough where he potentially could have made some gains there. So, yeah. Tough.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
John Jay, what do you think, man? Do you want to see Vladdy up here this season or what?
Well, yeah, I do actually. I want to speak as a fan. I mean, I think this season on paper for the Jays has been brutal as far as performance, as far as the trades, as far as yada yada off the field and all this. I think that the fans this year deserve to see something spectacular like Vladdy coming up. I know a lot of fans wanted to see him come up and do some damage on a big league level, but that's not going to happen this year. I think if they brought him up, what's the worst that could happen? He makes 10, 15, or 3 errors at third base. It's not going to change the course of the season. I think he's ready for the MLB. I think he should have been up. But obviously, I think it's more like Zaun said, it's a business thing. And I don't necessarily agree with it, but it is what it is, and we're going to have to wait till next year.
I think he certainly would have brought a lot more fans to the stadium the last couple of months, right?
Well,
Yeah, and I think
no
those
doubt,
fans deserve it this year. We have pretty loyal fans. I mean, look at the attendance records that were last year. I don't know about this year, but we were pretty good in attendance. What were we, third or first or something? Top three at least.
Right.
Number
I
one
think the
last
fans
year.
deserve something this year, and I thought he should have been called up. My personal opinion as a fan.
You bring up an interesting point. Okay, so the Jays led the league in attendance in 2017, having never spent one day at 500.
Right.
Yeah.
And I look at this business decision, and I'm okay with it. Had I not witnessed what went on in the spring, there was never a world where the Jays were going to compete in the American League with the roster that they ran out there opening day.
Right.
No.
They did nothing in the offseason to improve. Meanwhile, Boston got really good. New York's already really good and young. Cleveland's awesome already. The Astros won the World Series. They're young and awesome already. Seattle Mariners are really good too. Oakland's been fantastic. You know, kind of a revelation.
Even Tampa's playing good ball.
Yeah, Tampa's playing 500
Yeah.
baseball, but there was never a world where the Jays were going to make the playoffs in the American League. So, having said all that, why would you be worried about what the fans are going to react like when you trade Donaldson, your number one commodity, preseason for a pile of prospects? When you trade. I mean, they should have traded Justin Smoke at the deadline last year when he was at his highest value. Yeah. So here they made all these decisions preseason based on what the fans' reaction were going to be on the heels of jacking up prices for tickets, and yet they're not giving the fans what they want at the end of the season with Vladdy Jr. It's contradictory.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of playing opposite there.
Well,
So.
I don't. That's not what I meant by like with the roster at the beginning of the year. I knew that they weren't going to compete. What I mean is with these trades, trading away half the team, and it just seems like a disappointing season all around, not just the roster.
Right.
Like everybody's gone. Like I felt that we needed a little oomph to bring some sort of excitement back to baseball in Toronto.
To think a couple of years ago we had Bautista, Encarnacion, Donaldson. We were playing the Royals.
But I think we also got to buy into the fact that we're in a different time period with the Blue Jays, and we got to accept that and see what happens, let it play out. Because we do have some good prospects, and I think the future could be what we expect.
Right.
It'll be a younger team, too, which is always going to be good.
Getting back to Vladdy for a second, I just want to get your guys' thoughts. Do you think, I mean, obviously early signs have been wonderful for this guy. I mean, he's putting up some huge numbers, but do you think eventually he can put up numbers that resemble his father's? Greg?
Wow. I played against
Hall of Famer. That's
Absolutely.
I played against his dad. His dad was a bad ball hitter. You could hit one from his shoe tops to his top of his helmet. Who knows? I think that's a lot to heap on a kid.
Yeah.
Vladdy's a different player. He was a different player than his boy. I mean, they're built differently.
Yeah.
Only time will tell. Like I said, I based on some of my scout friends, they question his fitness level. They actually question his ability to move laterally. Mm-hmm. So where are you going to put him?
Yeah.
His dad could move. When he first came to the big leagues, he could fly.
Steal bases, home runs.
Had a cannon for an arm.
Had a great arm,
he was a 5-tool player.
Yeah.
This guy right now, for me, is probably a 1 or 2
A little bit less
player.
polished than his dad, probably.
Yeah, but he's only 19.
Yeah.
Right.
His dad wasn't in the big leagues at 19.
No. Okay.
Young, but not in the big leagues.
Nice. Okay. So, guys,
Is that going to make a difference for next year? Like, really, how much better can he get defensively?
Oh,
by
yeah,
next year?
a lot better. A lot better. If I was the Jays, I would have him with some sort of an infield guru trying to figure out how to get this kid lighter on his feet.
Yeah.
And be more mobile because, I mean, Josh Donaldson, he's not coming back to the Blue Jays. So they got to find somebody to play third base. It's likely going to be Vladdy Jr., but we don't know how that's going to go. And according to my sources, it ain't going to go well.
Oh, okay. So let's, we just mentioned Josh Donaldson. Let's talk about a bit about the news that came out the other day regarding the Josh Donaldson trade. A report came out that 3 American League teams, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Houston Astros, were all upset and actually complained to Major League Baseball that the Jays shouldn't have been able to complete the deal with the Cleveland Indians. Now, the biggest issue these teams had was the health of Donaldson. As by rule, you have to be certified as healthy in order to be placed on trade waivers. The Players Association got involved, and Donaldson himself agreed he was healthy, which enabled the trade to eventually go through. So, John, I'll ask you, sir, should these contending teams have been upset and filed a complaint, or
Well, I read that briefly this morning. Like, I haven't been up to date on my ball because I've been kind of vacationing. But I don't know. I think not really. I think it is what it is. If Donaldson wanted out, they traded for him. What we got for him, I don't know about that. But I think it is what it is.
Player to be named later, I think. Yeah. No. Do you guys have any thoughts on that in terms of, you know?
For me, it is what it is. You know, they were able to get the deal approved. You know, you have to live with it. I don't know why they're complaining. They're in a good position to compete.
Exactly.
I don't really know exactly how much it's going to do for the Cleveland Indians and how it's going to help them compete against, you know, Boston and New York and Houston, whoever else complained. So I don't know, you know, what they're up in arms about unless they wanted him, which is probably why. But I don't even know if he's going to be a healthy player to contribute anyways. I mean, that's still up in the air. So to me, it's a moot point.
Yeah, you look at what happened. I mean, a lot of people don't understand how it happened. So you typically, when a guy's on the disabled list, you can't trade him.
Right.
You can trade him while he's on the disabled list once he's activated to do
Baseball.
games, rehab games.
Okay.
He did that.
Right.
But he re-injured himself during the rehab games. I think the biggest point of contention for them is the fact that if this guy goes on the disabled list right away, why wasn't everybody told about his injury?
Right.
So he's injured, he's on the DL, he works himself back to shape where he can participate in a rehab assignment game, multiple games actually. While he's doing that, he hurts himself, and then they don't tell anybody. Now, it's all sour grapes because, and the way it works is every other team has to have an opportunity to look at him non-trade wired, you know, non-trade, you know, waiver trade deadline. But he cleared waivers.
Right.
So, hey, so sorry about your luck, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
You had a chance to trade for him too, and you didn't.
Apparently, they said the Astros were satisfied with the answer they got from the MLB, but I think the Yankees and Red Sox are still they're kind of up in the air.
But
right?
he's a difference maker. Trust me, if he's 75% of what he once was,
100%.
add him to that lineup in Cleveland.
Yeah, they got to.
Wow.
But he's got to be there.
He has to. He's got to be there.
Yeah.
And they took a huge risk. But,
They did. Yeah.
If he's able to, if he's healthy and contributing,
no
that's
question,
a difference maker.
Yeah,
No
and
doubt.
he'll solidify. He'll be playing third base over there for them.
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's talk about the teams that are actually playing for something in 2018, guys. The MLB playoffs are right around the corner. They'll get underway at the beginning of October. The best team in baseball, the Boston Red Sox, have been on an absolute tear this season, sitting pretty at a record of 99-46. They've got 2 AL MVP candidates in Mookie Betts and J.D. Martinez. They are primed to make a World Series run. However, there's a team that might have some say in the final result, and that is the defending champion, Houston Astros. The Astros currently have the second best record in baseball at 91-54, and over this past weekend, they came into Fenway Park and took 2 out of 3 against the Red Sox. So I'll go with Adwin. Let me ask you, are these two powerhouse teams on a collision course to meet in the ALCS?
I say so. Yeah. I would say so. I think obviously Houston has the track record. They've been there. They know what they need to do. And then Boston has just got a really talented squad, and I can't see them not meeting. Oakland obviously is hot, and Cleveland will be there as well. But for me, I think it'll be Boston and Houston.
John Jay, let me ask you. I know you know Roberto Osuna quite well. Do you think he's going to help
he's a good friend of mine.
Exactly? Is he going to help that Astros
I'm actually
team?
I'm going to go check a game on Monday. 3 games actually in Houston against the Mariners.
Oh, nice. You're going to be hanging out with him. That's going to be good.
Fun, yeah.
For sure. So do you think he's a difference maker for the Astros?
Definitely. I think since he's been there, he's been great. I think he has one blown save, and I know he got a save yesterday.
Yeah.
I think he's performing well. It's Osuna. I mean, great closer.
Yeah, and I think that was a little bit of a question with the Astros was their bullpen and their closing. What do you thought?
I mean, for a 23-year-old and to be going through what he's going through and all this other stuff, I think he's doing pretty good.
Nice. What do you thought, Greg? Boston, Houston?
Yeah, I picked Houston preseason to win it all again. I also picked Boston to run away with the American League East, but I think that Houston, they're better than they were a year ago.
Yeah.
I mean, they picked up Verlander and won the World Series. They got Garrett Cole. I mean, they both had 250 punch-outs this year.
Nice ovation for Verlander, by the way, in Detroit.
Yeah,
was it last night?
Yeah, it wasn't his fault. He got traded.
No, exactly.
He gave that organization everything he had. Yeah,
everything he had. Yeah.
Including Kate Upton. I mean, brought her into the stadium for people to look at.
Yeah. Jose Altuve's, phenomenal. One of my favorite players to watch.
Great player. It's going to be awesome to watch. I mean,
really good.
it'd be a great series.
I love playoff baseball. It's just such an exciting time.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to see, and and obviously, Osuna going to the Astros was a shock to everybody, but you wish the kid well.
Yeah.
I look at it like this: one bad moment in your life shouldn't be the definition.
Right.
If he's able to overcome all this, we don't know what happened. We don't know all the details yet, and so therefore, I will wait and let the justice system do their job.
Absolutely.
Let them do their job. Let them publish their findings, and then we'll all react as baseball fans afterwards.
Exactly. Let him pitch and do his thing for the Astros, and hopefully make a deep run.
And he's 23 years old. Let's remember what kind of mistakes we all made when we were 23.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being under that microscope at 23 years old? Give me a break. There's no way I would have made it.
For sure. For sure. Let me ask you this, Greg. Red Sox ace Chris Sale just came off the DL and pitched against the Jays last night. Was limited to one inning of work, but how important of a piece is he for the Red Sox to make a deep playoff run?
He's unhittable sometimes. I mean, that guy, Cy Young Award candidate pretty much every year. This guy is, wow. I hate to keep using the words difference maker, but that is some kind of special.
Yeah.
97 sinking all over the place with that breaking ball, his elbows and knees and everything
Flying at you. Yep.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
I know.
I was a switch hitter, and I wouldn't want to face him.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to rest him to the playoffs pretty much and throw him out there for an inning or two, maybe?
I think they're just going to build him up and keep him going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got to get his work in too, right? So, and he's got to be prepared to compete. But he definitely is a difference maker. He's got to be there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Also, guys, it looks like the Yankees and Oakland A's are going to meet for that wild card spot. John J., I'll ask you, one game matchup, most likely take place at Yankee Stadium. Who would you
Yankees.
take? You got
Absolutely the Yankees.
Yeah. Why
I wouldn't
would
even count the Yankees out of the whole situation, to be honest. Look what they did last year, and they weren't even expected to do that.
Right.
They took Houston to the final game, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
I wouldn't count them out at all.
a great
a healthy
series.
Yankee team, geez. In Yankee Stadium, I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't count them out, that's for sure.
Aaron Judge, is he coming back soon? Or
He might, but I have my concerns about him. Having sustained hand injuries myself and watched a bunch of teammates and opponents go through it, your hand strength is something that's just you're born with that dexterity in your hands. It's something you build up over your career. It takes a long time to come back from hand injuries. I don't think he's going to be the same when he comes back.
Really?
Not for a while.
Okay. That'll be interesting to see. And for that game, one-game matchup, it's always interesting. Luis Severino versus Sean Manaea as the pitching matchup, you think?
Yeah, Severino's not looking too good these days. I don't know.
He's been struggling.
I think I just read Manea's out for the rest of the season.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
he's going to have shoulder surgery. In fact, they say he's going to miss 2019.
Oh, wow.
So I think he's done.
So-
Unless I read incorrectly.
No, you might be right, because I did put this together yesterday. So that
Pretty
could be-
sure that I read this morning that Manea is going to miss 2019. So
Who do you think they throw out there in that one game?
no clue.
No clue.
No clue. I don't even pay attention to Oakland because I know they're just going to lose in the first round.
Yeah, exactly.
They do it every year because
The question is, do they throw out Severino or Happ in that game? That's
For the
the
Yankees?
question, I think.
Right, you got to go with if Severino's ready to go, you got to go with him.
If he's your guy,
Yeah,
He's got to get you in.
yeah.
You could bring Happ in later on in the game,
Absolutely.
Could yeah. Of course, it's all hands on deck in those elimination
Yeah.
games. But if you're gonna pick one or the other, God, Severino's electric.
right? Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Oh my
He
God.
is. All right, we'll move over to the NL quickly. It's absolutely crazy in the NL West. I mean, what a race we have going on. Colorado Rockies, LA Dodgers, Arizona Diamondbacks. The Rockies are clinging to a 1.5 game lead over the Dodgers, and the D-backs are only 2.5 games out. Adwin, who do you think comes out of that division?
I still like the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I think they have,
Greg with the fist pump over
yeah,
here.
they have what you need. They've got a lot of good talent, and when they get going, they're hard to beat. So, I don't really know what to think about Colorado, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I definitely like the Dodgers in the West.
They play in that high altitude over
Yeah,
there, so a lot of
I just don't
dingers
trust it.
Get out of that stadium. John Jay, who do you like, buddy, out in the NL West?
I like Arizona. I mean, a friend of mine is still with the organization. I know you know him, Zaun. O-Dog, Orlando Hudson.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a little biased to that question.
Yeah, I know you're good friends with him as well.
I think they have one of the most underrated players in baseball with Goldsmith, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Definitely
I like
underrated.
Arizona.
Yeah.
You like the Diamondbacks coming out? Okay, how about you, Greg?
It's I'm from LA. Hence the fist pump. I love the Dodgers, but I do have a lot of respect for that Arizona club. They were playing really well at the end of last year, and they were a game away from doing something special.
Yeah.
So. And the thing about Colorado, it's really funny. I played there for a month and a half in 2003, I think it was. Yeah,
Okay.
2003. So I was a Rocky for a bit. And it's funny. Everybody thinks it's the altitude, playing at altitude that gets you because you get winded quick.
Right.
The ball does fly.
Right.
That line drive down the line that curls foul at sea level stays fair.
Stay straight.
Yeah.
Stays straight. The big difference is when you come back to sea level, you almost feel sluggish and hungover.
Right.
There's a hangover.
You actually feel it.
Takes you a few days to get used to it. So, but they've got a squad.
Yeah.
One of my absolute favorite ball players in the game, Charlie Blackmon.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that guy.
Nice.
Gamer.
Well, we'll get you guys out of here on this. Who do each of you seeing out of the coming out of the AL and NL respectively, and who will be holding that World Series trophy when it's all said and done? We'll start with the manalist, Gregg Zaun.
Well, I see the Houston Astros coming out of the American League and winning it all. And I believe that they are going to face the Cubs in the World Series.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Astros Cubs. That'll be a nice matchup there. John Jay, who do you like?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I was just going to say that. Astros and Cubs.
Astros Cubs. Adwin?
With the Astros coming out on top.
I feel the same way, but I'll say Boston and the Cubs, and I think Boston will win.
Nice. Okay. And just, John Jay, you had the Astros to win, right? Win it all?
Yes.
Okay, nice. So I'm going to go on a little bit of a limb here. I'm going to take the Red Sox in the AL, but I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Brewers.
Wow.
Yikes.
I think it's the young Brewers' time to make a run, Greggy.
Yikes.
I do see them losing.
It's Milwaukee.
I know.
Come on.
Listen, I don't think I'll ever go vacation in Milwaukee, but
I wouldn't.
Exactly, but I think
I played there too.
I think it's their time. I think they take that step. They make a run, and they eventually lose to the Red Sox in 5 games. Probably won't happen, but we'll
It's
see.
hard. It's hard to go back to back, though, isn't it?
It is.
You think they've
Everybody's
got the
game
makeup to
is
do it?
gunning for. Look, they won 91 games already. Correa,
I know.
Altuve,
Yeah.
Springer.
Yeah.
Good God.
Bregman.
Bregman's on fire this year.
Yeah.
He's come into his own. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a talented squad.
They're a fun team to watch, and their
Good
fans just get
Lord.
into it.
Yeah,
It's like
and-
kind of like an intimate stadium, kind of looks like, right? And their
Yeah.
fans just get into it.
Played there for 2 years also.
Did you?
I loved it. That was absolutely awesome. I
Yeah.
loved playing in Houston. That's a squad, and
It's
they
a
got
squad.
great pitching.
And good chemistry too. I think that would probably be the thing that puts them over the edge.
For sure.
You
Yeah.
definitely enjoy
Osuna
yeah.
closing games for them legitimizes their chances for sure.
All
For sure.
Perfect, guys. Let me. I'll just tell you that this was awesome. Once again, thank you for joining me on this segment, John Jay. Let our listeners know what you got going on and where they can find you on social media.
Okay, before that, I heard that the Jays
Go
are
ahead.
looking for a new coach next year.
Yeah, we can quickly talk about that. John Gibbons, is he sticking around or what?
I'm a big fan. I've watched you for years. When I talk to my mom about it all the time, I think you would make an amazing coach.
Well, I can tell
I really
you,
do. I think you'd be perfect for them.
I would love to manage the Jays. People have been asking me about that for a long time. It seems like every time Gibby's name comes up and he's in jeopardy, they're like, "Why don't you take over, Zaun?" Only problem is that team's owned by the company that just fired me. So I'm going to go out on a limb. We don't need to get into why, but
No,
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that that's not a job offer that I'm going to hold my breath about right now.
But
Yeah.
not even for the Jays. Would you consider it maybe for another team?
Of course.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
I think that's something that's in your future.
I have a lot to share, and I think that one of the bigger misconceptions about me would be that I wouldn't be able to deal with today's player. I think I'd deal with them better than anybody
sure.
because they'd always know where they stood with me, and I'm a player's guy. I know it. I'd love to do it, but who knows whether I'll get that chance. I'm actively pursuing a job in pro ball right now, so we'll see. Maybe I'll be coaching in Podunk, Iowa somewhere, managing an A-ball team, working my way back to the show as a manager. We'll see how it goes.
One of my
Thanks
favorite
for the
managers
support,
is Joe Madden. So I think, players coach. I like the way his style. I think he'd be great.
I played for him too.
Did you? Yeah.
Quirky, but he's smart.
Yeah.
Guys.
Cash is doing a pretty good job down there in Tampa. Zaun, I think you played with Cash, right?
Yeah,
Was it?
I'm impressed with what Kevin's been able to do because he's hamstrung by money and players and ideology of the organization. He's done an impressive job down there.
Tampa always seems to figure it out, though. Like, what do you think? What are they doing so differently that makes them competitive
They have great player development.
Yeah.
Tremendous player development. There's a reason why all the guys that come up through their organization can throw strikes and can throw strikes with multiple pitches. It's
crazy.
Former pitching coach of mine, Dick Bosman's the minor league pitching coordinator, and they do it right. They understand how to develop players. And, of course, Tampa had the first pick in the draft for the better part of a decade when they first started.
True,
So
that helps.
They had a lot of good players coming through there. But their player development, there's no substitute for great scouting and great player development. That's how you build organizations.
And every time we play them, it just seems like we can't even score a run on them. I see it like 5-1, 7-1 final. It's just like, what's
they
going
seem
on?
to beat up on the Yankees, too, a lot.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. So I think Tampa's definitely on the up rise, and they're going to be coming back strong soon.
It'll be a decade before anybody but Boston and New York comes out of the East.
Exactly.
That's the truth.
They're too young and too good.
Yeah.
So loaded. Guys, this was awesome. Thanks very much. John Jay, I was in the middle of asking, where can I, guys, our listeners follow you on social media and where not?
Okay, so I DJ about 4 to 5 nights a week. On Fridays, I'm at a club called Same Nightclub. Saturdays, I'm at Wayward. Sundays, I'm at Cure. Wednesdays and Thursdays, I do EFS once a month. I do a club in Hamilton once a month called Modern. I'm all over the place, and you guys are always welcome, Zaun. You're welcome to come out anytime. Adwin, Milo.
Yeah, for sure, buddy. I've been on a lot of your parties.
You guys are welcome to come out anytime.
I've been to a lot of your parties.
social
Always
media
fun.
handle
Man.
is
I'll
John
take
J.
that
Music.
invite.
Are you spinning classic rock and 80s metal?
Sure, Zaun, if you're in the building, I will play whatever you want.
Yeah, there's a Ludacris has got a song with a little track, a little sample by Ozzy. At first I heard it was like sacrilege, but now I'm kind of into it.
No problem. You bring that World Series ring, and you can request any song you want.
I got it on right now. I'll let you try it on and take pictures with it.
I've been to a lot of
I would have been there.
It's all right. Your boy Osuna's going to get you one this year.
Yeah,
I hope so.
We'll see about that. That's probably going to happen. But I've been to a lot of John Jay parties. He's a great DJ, good friend of mine as well. Where can they find you on social media, buddy?
It's John J Music, so JOHN, then the letter J Music.
Okay, perfect. And we got Adwin. Any social media, any handles?
Twitter at Adwin Springer.
Okay, perfect. And Greg, what do you have going on these days, and where can people find you on social media?
Well, Twitter and Instagram are both the same, at Gregg Zaun, GreggZaun. Facebook is Gregory Owen Zaun. You can find me on the YouTube with the Manalist TV, MANALYST. And then if you're looking for some top quality baseball instruction for your kids, you can find me at the Gregg Zaun Baseball Academy, and that's the easy one. Just baseballacademy@greggzaun.com is the email.
That's your email? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah. Perfect, Greg. We appreciate it. You're going to be sticking around for the video portion of our And More segment, where And More guest will be doing a demonstration on you regarding her business, so definitely looking forward to that.
All right.
Thanks again, gentlemen. Toronto Talk Sports and more.
All right, welcome to another edition of And More here on Toronto Talk Sports and More, episode number 21. It's your guy, Hez, and I'm pleased to be joined by a lovely, ambitious, super enthusiastic young lady, Natalie Satinsky of Got Pains. How's it going, Nat?
Good. Thank you.
Awesome. So
Happy
Natalie,
to be here.
So Natalie is a certified esthetician, a micropoint stimulation practitioner. She specializes in auricular therapy, battlefield acupuncture, scar release therapy, advanced circuit therapy, and concussion recovery therapy. Damn, that's a mouthful. So Natalie, it's an awesome pleasure having you here in studio and finally getting a chance to meet you. You and I have chatted back and forth, kind of preparing for this episode, your appearance here for the last few weeks. You've done some advertising with us as well when we did our big exclusive interview with Raptors assistant coach Phil Handy, so we feature your company then. What's happening? What's new and exciting? How was your summer?
It's been busy, very busy. The word is traveling quickly with me doing concussions.
Okay.
I've got a chance to work with some pro athletes, some boxers, some
Okay.
basketball players.
Sounds
so
exciting.
it's taking off, yeah.
All right. So before we get into your business, Satinsky, huh? Where does that name stem from? Tell us a little bit about your family background, a bit about your upbringing.
German-Hungarian.
Okay.
Born and raised in Toronto.
All right.
My parents were immigrants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Germany, Hungarian. Nice combo there. Cool. So listen, before we kind of dig deep and get into your business, tell us a bit about your educational background and kind of some of the training that pertains to your line of work.
So I started, I changed careers I was in banking and finance, and then decided to get into something that I was passionate about, which was the aesthetics. I did that. I started that off in Niagara, and then I recently...
I like Niagara.
Yeah. Moved to Toronto and got involved with MPS therapy.
Okay.
So when I was working with clients doing massage and therapy that way, I find they were always complaining about pain, and of course I want to help them further. So when this landed in my lap, the MPS therapy, I ran with it because this is game changer.
Okay,
I mean,
we'll
I'm
definitely
helping
get to that
so
in more
many
detail.
people. Yeah.
Awesome. Good,
Yeah,
good,
so
good.
I've been using it in my practice ever since.
Awesome. So listen, got pain. Let's get
Yes.
right to it. The floor is all yours, Natalie. Think of this as your impromptu infomercial. Tell us all about your business.
Well, if you're in pain, I can help you.
All right.
Pretty simple. Everybody's
pains?
got pain. Everybody's got some form of pain or another, whether you're a housewife or an athlete, ranging from menopause to concussions.
Okay.
I work with kids as well, but mainly athletes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Care to do some name drops? I did see on Instagram you did treat Mr. Kyle Lowry of
I
our Toronto
did.
Raptors.
I
So how was
did.
that? What did you work on him?
His hand. His
Okay.
hand. I was in a gym treating someone else, and he was boxing.
Okay.
Hurt his hand. So I guess word traveled that I do this, and he asked me if I could treat his hand. I did it a couple times, actually,
All right,
while he
that
was
went well.
still here before he left.
He's a cool guy?
He's awesome.
Got to bring him on the show.
Oh, he's awesome. Should do a follow-up, How you doing?
That'd
How's
be
the
great.
hand? Yeah.
So tell us about the concussion treatment, because that's really interesting. And
Yes.
obviously concussions have been really prevalent in sports over the last few years. So how does that specifically work? How do you treat concussions?
So it depends on how many injuries there are. Like when I treat, it's about 5 to 7 sessions. Each
Okay.
session's about 3 hours long, where
Right.
you lay on the table and I do my thing. And I use the dolphin narrow stem on the head, and I use it on
Okay.
the body. I release the scars because everything is linked together. The feedback I get from everybody is usually within the first to 2 sessions, they're
Okay.
feeling the difference. It's amazing. All those the symptoms, the light sensitivity, the irritability, the moodiness, the memory loss, like all those things seem to go away within 3 sessions. On average.
Okay.
Average.
I guess it depends also if
Yes.
we're talking concussions, the grade of the concussion, right?
Yes.
Right, the
yes.
severity.
And then after the sessions are done, it would be a follow-up visit every 2 weeks and then 2 months, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So MPS therapy, so explain that a little bit more in detail. How specifically does that work, and
So
what is it?
micropoint stimulation.
Right.
It's basically acupuncture without the needles.
Okay.
So I'm using a current. It's a direct current, a DC current.
And we are going to do a live demonstration later
Yes.
on video. Good stuff.
So it breaks down scar tissue, helps with circulation, increases range of motion. So all I do is put these 2 devices on you, and
Okay.
it sends a very minor, tiny current through the scar.
Is there any uncomfortable?
Nope.
No
Nope.
pain, nothing at all?
It's non-invasive. I'm not
Okay.
puncturing the skin. It's safe. It's natural. Yeah, and it's effective. It works.
And how long does that treatment last for? The actual session?
2 to 3 hours each
Is that-
session.
Okay, wow, that's a lot of stimulation.
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. Awesome. So tell us, what do you love most about your work? What brings you the most joy and pleasure in the work that you do?
The feedback I get.
Okay, tell us about that feedback.
Oh gosh, yeah. When someone tells you they can bend down and put their socks back on and dress
Okay.
themselves, that's amazing.
Because for me personally, we've talked about this
Yes.
before, obviously off air. I've been struggling with back pains probably going back 4 years now. I don't know how it started. Well, probably I do. I've been known to have bad posture, even the way I drive and whatnot. And, I sit at my desk a lot, doing
Right.
work on the computer. What can you do for me specifically?
Well, it's usually linked to scars, injuries, surgeries, because what happens is when you have an injury, there's scar tissue that forms, and it's internal. And it forms like adhesions internally, and it pulls on the organs, muscles, ligaments. So it starts to pull you down. So let's say you picture a spider web. It's nice and round, and then you have an injury, let's say on your foot. It starts to pull downwards. So now you're starting to lean forward. You're having back pain. You're having shoulder pains. So when I release that
And this
scar...
is related to muscle, not nerve.
Correct. So then when I release that scar, everything goes back to its natural state.
Okay.
So everything is scars. Scars create pain in the body. You just don't see them because it's inside.
Okay. So what would be the difference between, let's say, chiropractic treatment, so just, what people would normally do for common treatment for a back pain?
Well, the first session you would come in, it would be about an hour and a half to 2 hours. I would assess you. We would go through all the scar releasing first.
Oh, okay.
So you kind of got to go backwards to go forward.
Oh, okay.
And then usually three sessions would be good. And that's it. You don't need to see me again.
What I'm saying is, what specifically would be the difference? I mean, why not go see a chiropractor or get acupuncture in terms of specific, in my case, lower back pain compared to the MPS treatment?
What's a different modality?
Okay.
Chiros, you tend to return again and again.
Okay.
With my modality, you don't, unless you injure yourself again.
And would you recommend your treatment in conjunction with massage therapy to
That's good.
kind of relax the muscles and the tissues and whatnot? Do you do massage therapy?
I
as well?
do. I'm not an RMT. No, I do Swedish massage.
Okay. What is Swedish massage?
Well, it's more of a relaxing, not so much deep tissue.
Okay.
We did do a test one time. I had a competitive golfer wear a Fitbit. And he came in for a
like
session.
Fitbits.
Yeah. So we did a test to see his blood pressure and his heart rate variable. So when we started, I believe it was 138, and then when we finished, it was about 85. He was so relaxed, he was like Jell-O. I asked him to go to a regular massage therapist and do the same exact thing. And it was the opposite. He said he was inflamed, he was in pain, and his heart rate variable was off the charts.
So basically, Swedish massage for the win. Love it. Anything else you want to share with us regarding your business, Natalie?
I want to spread the word that there's help out there.
Okay.
I can help anybody. It's holistic. It's natural.
Awesome.
So spread the word.
Got pains, hit Natalie up. So
That's
listen,
it.
before we run, we're going to play a little game. It's called TTS Word Association. Oh, no. Are you ready?
Oh, God.
So here's how it goes. We have a list of 10 very random words or phrases, and as I list them off, you have to say the very first thing that comes to mind. Are you with me, Nat? So it's TTS Word Association. Let's go. And as I said, the first thing that comes to mind: touchdown,
Football.
Saskatchewan. First thing that comes to mind. Anything.
I don't know. I don't have anything.
Carpal tunnel syndrome.
MPS therapy.
Vodka.
Cheers.
Trump.
No comment.
Fallopian.
Tubes.
Vegan.
Food.
Double play.
No comment.
Could have said baseball.
Something
You got a
else,
dirty
but
mind,
yeah.
girl. Tuberculosis. Tuberculosis.
Children.
And last, muscle pain.
MPS therapy.
All right, good stuff, Nat. You're great. That was awesome. I could give you 10 more. That was so
God,
fun.
no.
So listen, as we wind down, please tell our listeners how they can connect with you and book you to take advantage of your services.
I'm on Instagram at Got Pains, and I'm also on Facebook.
All right. And also on the web, gotpains.ca, which right now does link directly to your IG account, right?
Correct.
Awesome. So you're going to stick around for a bit. We're going to record a brief video demonstration of you treating a client, and not just any client, but the very own Mr. Gregg Zaun himself. So much looking forward to that. TTS listeners, you can check out that video clip on our website. It'll be up on torontotalksports.com/videos. Thanks again for this, Natalie. A pleasure meeting with you and featuring you. Got Pains, Toronto Talk Sports, and more.
Thanks for listening to TTS episode number 21. A special thanks goes to all our guests, TTS contributor Adwin Springer, DJ John Jay, Natalie, and of course our very special guest, former Major League Baseball player Gregg Zaun. Remember, in addition to Google Play Music and Apple iTunes, you can now listen to us on SoundCloud by searching Toronto Talk Sports. We wish you all a great week. Please tune in to our next episode, TTS episode number 22, which will be released on Tuesday, September 18th. Toronto Talk Sports and more. For the love of the six, let's connect.
Thank you for tuning into Toronto Talk Sports and more. Please subscribe to our podcast via Apple iTunes or Google Play Store. And stay tuned for new episodes, prizes and surprises at TorontoTalkSports.com.